Do you use affirmations, and do they work? Do they work for you, or step back because you care about the world? Do they work for anybody? Mostly no. However, stay with me because in this video, at the beginning of this training, I'm going to show you not only why they don't work, how they actually often make things worse, right? And just let that sink in for a minute, because how many beautiful, well-meaning people with big hearts believe in and try to use affirmations and their lives get worse. So I'm going to show you how that works. Equally important, maybe more importantly, I'm going to show you how they can work, what makes the difference. And really, that's one component of the big picture. Are you ready for the big picture? Are you sitting down? Stand up. Are you standing up? Sit down. Because in my 30 years of obsession with personal and spiritual development, making myself a guinea pig, having now worked with thousands of people, having invested something like $750,000 for me and being with the best teachers and coaches in the world, and through direct revelation through spirit, this is the distillation of how it works. By it, what do I mean? I mean creating reality, creating your reality. If you prefer, manifesting. Here's the thing. Have you heard? And some of you I know have even said to other people and meant it, you create your own reality. I remember when I first heard that, I was excited. Like, woo, like I can feel some power in that. Because up until then, a lot of my life, I'd been a victim of circumstances, the government, my parents, the way things are. And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You mean I can create my own reality? Yeah. And then as that sunk in more, and have you had this experience where it's like you create your own reality? But, oh, shoot, darn. Because there are some parts of my reality I don't love. So what I bring to you as part of this training is what I call the ultimate technology. Now, I've been saying that over the last several years, working with my 5 and 6 figure clients, and they get it, and we have some rapport. And then it occurred to me as I was speaking to someone I didn't know, and I said that, I'm like, does that sound weird? Technology? Because really, we're talking about people with big hearts, people that are into creating value-rich, service-based businesses, adventures, people that are committed to making a positive difference in the world. And in our current environment with technocracy and such, some people don't vibe with technology. So I looked it up. Technology means the application of science, right? The scientific application to create specific results. So what that means is, yes, I'm using the word correctly, because what I'm sharing with you, what the ultimate technology is, and why do I say ultimate? Because it is the most effective, the pinnacle of technologies. Because this technology, right, there's the technology of how I'm speaking to you, and the camera and the microphone and the streaming software and the recording and the emails. Like, that's all technology. That's cool. But that's not the ultimate technology. The ultimate technology, the meta technology, is the human spirit system that runs it all, that creates it all. So the ultimate technology is, how do you create? How are you creating? We'll get into that distinction. How can you create anything and everything you desire? You with me? Okay. Now, specifically in this section, we're talking about affirmations. And I will share with you why affirmations don't work, why they make things work worse, and how to use them. And that is one of the three keys of the ultimate technology. By the way, another word for the ultimate technology, being, who you are being. Now, don't jump ahead. Don't be like, oh, yeah, I heard that before. Because, one, that's a thought form that is incompatible with mastery and reality creation, right? Because, and I know I've been there before, like, oh, yeah, I know that. It's not the question, not a useful question. A useful question, or not a useful response. A useful response is to ask the question, how, okay, that thing I've heard before, how well am I applying it? How else can I apply it in my life? What else can I understand about it? Questions rule. Good questions, great questions lead to an amazing life. So, being, aka identity, yes, that's exciting. Also known as vibration, if you want to take it to the esoteric side of things, right? Vibration. Our state of being, it's the collection of thoughts and feelings. Well, where do those come from, though? So, on our way to understanding affirmations, let's get to the core of being and results. This is through a framework, the distillation of my 30 years, called the river of causality. The river of causality. So, what do you want? Like, what is it that brought you here? Okay, yeah, maybe it was a video about affirmations, maybe about the ultimate technology. Still, though, why do you care about affirmations? What would you affirm? What is it that you would love to have in your life? There are things. Everybody wants results. And that might be more income, more clients, greater impact. That might be to be healthy in my body now. That might be to create a marriage, save a marriage, peacefully separate from a marriage. That might be, like, I have one high level client, it's like to connect more deeply with spirit. She's somebody who really logical, linear, great business, made multiple millions, big business, and now got all the money she wants. Now it's about, how do I connect more deeply to spirit? This is a realm I haven't gone into so much before. So everybody wants results. Now, prior to results, if you go upstream, up the river from there, what is it that must come before results? Always. Action. Action must precede results. And people sometimes answer positive thinking, visualization, optimism. Yes, those things matter. Intention, yes, it matters. However, you can have a lot of positive thinking and intention, and without action, you're not going to get the results. Most of us, most of the time. There are some high-level teachers, right, that can imagine, visualize, connect to the energy of, and poof, there it is. Or so it seems. I haven't got to that level yet. Most people I know, not so much. So for 99.9% of us, preceding results is action. And since we are wise beings, we say, okay, let's go upstream from there. What precedes action? And that's the question of, well, do I act or not act? Right? Because if I don't act, I don't get the results. If I do act, well, let's subdivide further. I can act ineffectively, right? I can do the stuff, take the actions, make the calls, ask the girl out, right? Rake the yard, whatever it is, I can do the thing, but if I'm doing it poorly, I'm not going to get a great result. Are you with me? It's kind of obvious, though. It's not obvious if we don't think about it. Have you ever noticed, by the way, that every time or at least almost every time we say to someone, obviously, we wouldn't be saying obviously if it were obvious. Which reminds me, similarly, if we say, I forgot, 99.9% of the time when we say, I forgot my glasses, I forgot my keys, actually in that moment, we are remembering. Curious. So we can act and it be ineffective, or we can act and it be effective. Give you the example of my friend Theodore, single guy, walking down the street. He sees a woman to whom he's attracted. What happens? Here are the options. Walk right by, not say anything. Walk up to her and speak to her. So walk right by and not say anything. Why would that happen? Thoughts lead to the actions or inactions. Thoughts lead to effective action or ineffective action. So if Theodore has the thinking, she's way out of my league. If Theodore has the thinking, no woman would want to go out with me, he's probably not going to talk to her, right? Or maybe Theodore's read the book, talked to his empowerment coach, and he says, you know what, I just got to do the thing. I got to brave up. And he's going to go up to her and speak to her anyway, but he still get the thought, she's out of my league. She's not going to be into me. How does his conversation go? Hi, I'm Theodore. You don't want to go out with me, do you? Or something like that, right? And we've all done some version of that. I love Theodore. Or if he has a different thought, which is, hey, we might get along. Hey, you know what? Maybe we'd be great for each other. Maybe I could really serve her and make her life better. If he has that thought, well, one, he's probably going to speak with her rather than just walk by. Two, when he does speak with her, it's going to be coming from a place of possibility, a place of empowerment, much more likely to be effective. Okay, are you with me? What do we got so far? We got results preceded by action. What determines the action? It's our thoughts. Closely related to our thoughts, language, feelings come from thoughts. So since we are wise, and happily, since this is a simple framework, let's go one step further up in this river of causality, up the stream. We get to the source. Because we're wise, we ask the question, what produces those thoughts? How does it that Theodore comes to think she's out of my league, or we might be great together? The thoughts come from who we are being. Who we are being is the source of everything in our life, right? This is the river of causality. Who we are being creates our thoughts, our language, our actions, our results. So what does this mean for us? Why am I sharing all this with you? Because we're talking about how to create anything and everything you want in your life, how it's true that you create your reality, and even better, how you can do it in the way that you want that works for you. So there's a great saying, which is, a bitter fountain cannot produce pure water. Another way of saying it is, if the river right here is dirty, how effective is it to clean it up? Not very, right? Because we know if it's dirty here, well, the pollution's coming somewhere up here. And if we clean it up here, it's just going to get polluted again in a minute. Are you with me? So, wisdom, common sense, not always so common, says, well, go clean up where the pollution's coming from. A bitter fountain cannot produce pure water. So we go upstream to the source and we look at who we are being. And so the problem for so many people, the way this translates into reality, is they think, I'm going to change my action. I want different results, and action precedes results. I'm going to try this technique, this technique, this technique, this tactic, this tactic. I'm going to generate more business by calling people. That didn't work. I'm going to generate more business by doing social media. That didn't work. I'm going to generate more business by doing the networking. That didn't work. Why? Because up here, I don't believe in myself, for example, a limiting belief that would nullify all of these. So, does that mean that actions don't matter? Which actions don't? Of course they matter, right? So, here I am on the island of Maui, and I look out this window and I see the Pacific Ocean. It's so beautiful. I see the North Shore of Maui where Jaws is, big wave surfing. Awesome. In a few hours at sunset, if I look out that window facing toward the north, excited for the sunset, what's going to happen? I'm going to be disappointed because I'm not going to see it. So yeah, tactics matter. We look west for the sunset. Look east for the sunrise. Tactics matter. However, they are of far secondary importance to the source, which means for us, for you, that if you want to get really good at creating your own reality, at creating what you want, then understanding this river of causality, understanding the ultimate technology is really useful. And what that means is go up to the source, your highest leverage activity, the place to start, what's most important, who you are being, who you're being, right? Your identity. Now, that is one of those things that can be like, oh yeah, of course. Simple. I heard that many, many, many years ago. However, that didn't translate to me being really good at creating it. How come? Because I didn't know how to do it. There is the ultimate technology. The ultimate technology is the science of being, the application of being to create being. How do you create being? 3 steps. Define who is, in my language, your supreme self, your best self, you without limitations. The you that creates everything you want, because that already exists. You can imagine it. You can imagine the results. You can imagine the being that creates it. Am I speaking too fast? I get excited sharing about this. So, first key is create being, your supreme self. And now we will go into an entire lesson on that. So powerful, so useful. That alone, if you invest in it and grok it, will change your life. And that's just one of the 3 keys. It will not complete the picture, though. The second key is in many ways more important because a lot of people know about creating being. They create a mission statement, a vision statement for their company, a personal one. This is who I am at my best, and write it out and craft it and laminate it and frame it and brand it. And then what do? Put it on the wall? Maybe. Put it in a drawer? Maybe. That actually can make things worse too. How does that happen? Because now I know about this great possibility, but I'm not living it. That sucks. Right? When I was in high school, I was bright, but I was a poor student. Why? It didn't seem fun to me to do the work. So a lot of time I didn't do it. So for the first few years of school, I goofed off a lot and I just got by. I was smart enough to basically get by, but not really get good grades. Then came my senior year and I was like, well, I want to go to college. Oh, and colleges choose the students based on their grades and the test scores. And I better get some good grades. So my senior year, I started getting good grades, straight A's. And then we took the tests, and where I was, that they were called SATs. And I did really well in the SATs. So I had high scores and I had a little bit of high grades and a bunch of low grades. And what did that make me in the eyes of the college admissions departments? It made me an underachiever. Same thing happens when we say, this is my potential. This is who I am at my best. I write out my supreme self manifesto. This is who I can be. But if I'm not living that, creating that, then what do I get? I'm an underachiever. I'm disappointed. I'm not living up to my potential. That hurts. It hurts. We might bury that pain. We might numb out from it. A lot of people do. Still hurts though. So the first key is creating the Supreme Self via the Supreme Self Manifesto. Second key is activating and cultivating it. And we will have a full lesson on that as part of this training too. We will dive deeply into how do you activate and cultivate it. It's not enough just to know. We're in an area where we need to do, right? To actually create, where the rubber meets the road is taking that potential, that hologram, that spirit, that infinite, and applying it in such a way that we get the results. I love the image of the magician from tarot cards, right? The magician, the first card after the fool, these are archetypes. He has his hand up here and he's in the sky with his hand. And that hand is saying, I'm tapped into spirit or God or the universe, the holographic field, the field of infinite potentials. It's all possible up there. Everything's possible. And so then the other hand is down here. Comes through the heart, by the way. That's another story. We'll get to that. Comes through the heart and it's into the earth, under the field, onto the floor, into physical reality. That's the magician. Take the infinite, the possible, translate it through the heart and create it into reality. So that's the number 2 key. Activation and cultivation is to take that Supreme Self Vision Manifesto and apply it in a really effective, fun way so that every day we are living more and more of that potential, that ultimate being. And then the third key brings us back to the title of this particular lesson, why affirmations not only often don't work, they often backfire, and what to do about it. Because here's the thing, y'all. If we create our Supreme Self Manifesto, which is really a set of statements or declarations, I am, right? I am powerful words in every spiritual tradition, because whatever follows that, that's our being. I am lucky, happy, weak, strong, smart. I'm the kind of person for whom it always works out. I'm a klutz. I'm somebody who's always losing what they find, right? These are all statements of being. And what is being, remember up here at the source of the river of causality, will come downstream into results. So our Supreme Self Manifesto is a set of declarations, a compilation of declarations that define who we are. Number 2 key, activation and cultivation, is learning to live and become, condition those declarations into our being such that we are that and are living that. Now that's great. However, Thoreau said something beautiful. If you've built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they belong. Now, put the foundation underneath it. What does that mean? Up here, remember that? The magician up here, that's castles in the air, in the ether, in the potential. That's good. It's not enough. That's good. Now, put the foundation under. And the way I think of this is we can speak the declarations. This is who I am. However, if we're doing that on a foundation that is quicksand, it's not gonna work. Right? So here's the problem. Make it very direct with affirmations. People say, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am sexy. And why do people make affirmations? Because they want to be that, but they don't believe they are. They're not that. Right? I am wealthy. You never see wealthy people walking around going, I am wealthy. They don't have to. They know it. They are that. Right? So it's always people that are aspiring to wealth who say, I am wealthy. And if we're smart enough to say, maybe I can say I am wealthy, we're also smart enough to know it's not true. I'm not. That's why I'm saying it. And so what does that mean? I am wealthy. And then another part goes, No, you're not. I am sexy. Dude, you sit on the sofa every night. Whatever that little voice, nah, you're not. That voice gets in the way of this creation. It not only undermines it, makes it untrue. We know it's not true. And what else does it mean besides it's not true? It means, well, I'm a liar. I'm not telling the truth. Makes things worse. Now I feel badly about myself. Not only am I not wealthy, but I'm a liar. I'm worse off. My mentor, Steve Hardison, he calls this putting frosting on poop. Putting frosting on poop. Or building a castle on quicksand. It's just not going to work. So, is all lost? No. That's where it should be. Put the foundation underneath. What does that mean? Clean up the poop. Take care of that voice that goes, no, you're not. Because what is that really? We'll go into greater depth of this because this is the third key. Clean up the poop, build the foundation, or in most straightforward language, compassionate self-forgiveness. Compassionate self-forgiveness. Why? Because when we declare this, which is, of course, possible, yet that other voice comes in and goes, nuh-uh, you are not. What is that voice? Judgment. Self-judgment. It's a mean thought. Self-recrimination. There's a great book by Cherry Huber called, what's the title? There's Nothing Wrong with You. I think that's what it is. It's a book about hate, self-hate. And so many of us have learned through education, through inadvertent messages from parents, teachers, even religion. You are not good. You are bad. There's a problem with you. We've learned to think negatively of ourselves, to beat ourselves up. Is it true or is it true? And if you say, nah, it's not true, that's not true. We all do it. It's only a question of degree. And even those of us who've gotten wind of this, realized and done a deep dive, compassionate self-forgiveness process, something I guide my clients through, right? Taking care of the poop, building the foundation. Even if we've done a deep dive, there's still more. There's always more because there's infinite possibility. Last little bit. Are you with me? Are you awake? Are you getting this? So important. So fundamental. So the process is to forgive ourselves for the judgment, for the self-hate, for the mean thought. First step is to become aware of them, to become aware of the negative thoughts we have about ourselves. So for you who are in this training between now and the next lesson that comes to you in 3 days' time, you've got a challenging job. Challenging on the level that it doesn't feel good. In my mastery training, right? Same, it's an online course, but it's also the curriculum I use for my six-figure clients. Week 1 is called Hell Week or Liberation Week. And it's because, and this is my invitation to you, my assignment to you, I implore you, make a list. Open up your mind, your awareness, your heart to the judgments, the self-recriminations, the mean thoughts you say about yourself, and write them down. Become aware of them, write them down. It's hellish because, oh my goodness, I'm so mean to myself. When I did that, I was like, whew, the thoughts. And I'm going to show you what to do with it. First, though, we got to become aware of it. We got to open ourselves up to the pain of our self-judgment, the mean thoughts. Right? For me, they were ones like, I'm fat, I'm lazy, right? People don't love me, I'm not good enough. I mean, they're all forms of I'm not good enough. People don't love me. right? I'm selfish, and many more, and many variations. And I've had clients do this where they have 25 pages. Now, granted, some of them are over and over and over the same thing, right? I'm fat. 20 minutes later, I'm fat. 20 minutes later, I'm fat, right? And that's just one that was strong for me because of my history as a fat kid. So whatever it is for you, write it down, become aware of it. Have the courage to look, to feel. Yeah, that's worth celebrating, that courage. So to bring it all around, we have covered the river of causality, the ultimate technology, which is being, and the three keys of being: your supreme self defined, your supreme self manifesto, which could be the castles in the air, your potential. And then number 2 key, which we'll come back to, which is activation and cultivation. It's not enough just to imagine. It's actually, we create ourselves, right? The process for me every morning is self-creation. And then number 3, why affirmations not only don't work, they can get worse, make things worse. How we heal them, we've started into your job, next 3 days, inventory, write it down. When would now be a time to take some breaths? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested. Thank you for being part of the solution in creating your life into a masterpiece, living your life into vibrant thriving. Because as you do that, you change the world, you change yourself, you change your life, the people around you, the environment. That's what we're here for. So I love that you're here. I love that you're doing this work. I love you also for allowing me to be part of it. Thank you. Stay tuned for the next lesson. In the meantime, make your list. Keep checking it twice, 3 times. Stay on it. You can do it. I love you. See you later. Aloha.